19.8.4, hearing 2, limited to items on this agenda, except for public hearing items. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes. And I see we have someone at the podium. Give me a chance to put my timer here. And I will ask you to please state your name and address for the record.
It's Jim Strauss, N1517 Meadow Ridge Circle, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And of course also I'm the publisher of the Geneva Shore Report, some of you may know. I'm here to talk about Hillmoor. What a shock. When I left home, I hadn't been able to get a haircut for a while, so my wife said I looked like the mad scientist from Back to the Future. I feel like I'm living part of Back to the Future because here we are with Mirabal Hummel all over again. You know, the Hillmoor monster rises up from the muck. What are we doing here, and what are you doing in leadership positions, and why are we having these secret meetings again? Oh, I know, they're not secret. They're just closed session. And why doesn't the public get to know? Because we have such a big interest in this. If it hadn't been for J.B. Pritzker coming in to buy the Mirabal Hummel property, we'd be in a real fix. Are we looking for an angel again to come save us on Hillmoor? Because they've threatened a frivolous lawsuit, which I looked at the lawsuit. I'm not an attorney, but I can see frivolity when I read it. And so here's this air threat that comes in, and everybody's in a big hullabaloo again about Hillmoor. What do they want? Well, you know what they want. They want their crummy zoning changed to a business zoning or something higher so they can double or triple the amount of value on the property at our expense. They do not have a dream. They do not have a goal to build anything. They just want to make money, okay? We have enough of those developments where big companies came in and half developed and then left. Do we need another one there? Why aren't we acquiring Hillmoor, which we should have done in the first place? I mean, we have $17 million we can borrow. How about borrowing some of that money to buy some of the best property in all of Lake Geneva and then do something with it? But instead it sits there laying fallow, weeds all over the damn place. It's an eyesore. And that sort of motivates people to want to go along with these characters out of Chicago that want to damage us, in my opinion. Okay? These people who sit here are about Hillmoor as well. I'm only here tonight at this hour, the publisher of a paper, standing here to say that we are not going quietly into the night. We are not failing to notice this or your behavior in this, nor in Mirabal Hummel, Mr. Dan Draper, who was a part of that mess back then, when contract zoning was committing and all kinds of things that were done that cost this city could have paid millions if we didn't have an insurance company. And God knows why they're still with us if they are the same insurance company. I don't see that in the budget. But since we're being kind of cavalier tonight with the rules, instead of spot on, I just thought I'd bring up the fact that this is an emotional situation because we love, we care, and we are part of being here. And we want to remain here and have the enjoyment of the ambiance, the beauty, and nature around us. So help us out, fair leaders who got elected in the last election, and for the most part have been doing a good job in a tough time. But we need help on this one, and we need you to hang tough, and then we need you to tell us what the hell's going on instead of holding these closed sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Strauss. Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, sir. State your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Tom Van Maren. I live at 800 South Lakeshore Drive here in Lake Geneva. And I just wanted to make a couple of personal comments about the former Hillmoor Golf Course. I moved here to Lake Geneva a little over 20 years ago. And one of the first things I did when I moved to Lake Geneva was I joined the golf league over at Hillmoor. Those of you that are a little older and have retired, you know, you don't have the cash flow that you had when you were working. And so having a municipal course or a semi-municipal course is what we had in Hillmoor, was a great asset to the community. You know, you can play at Geneva National and you can play at Grand Geneva, but it's not cheap. And to have a course here, right here in Lake Geneva that we could play was a real asset to the community. One of the other reasons I joined was to make friends here. It's an actually great way to meet people and to become a part of the community. It seems to me, as been mentioned, we've gone through this a number of times with different builders who have wanted to do things with the golf course. My personal opinion is that it could be restored to an 18-hole golf course fairly easily, or it could be converted to just a 9-hole golf course. Some of us that, again, are older don't want to play 18 holes anymore. We can't. Our bodies just won't allow it anymore. And so to have even a 9-hole golf course here at Lake Geneva, I think would be a real asset. You wouldn't have to use all the property. You could use that for something else, the unused part that wouldn't be part of the golf course. You know, there's still courses around that you can play that are fairly inexpensive. You can go down to, down by Twin Lakes. You can go up on Route 75. There's a couple of courses up there that are reasonable. But a lot of those are community golf courses or county golf courses as well. It seems to me that if we can pay more than $6 million, which is the number that I've been hearing, to renovate the Riviera. The last time, again, my understanding is that the golf course sold for $3.4 million. I think we could buy the course, use it as a partly public golf course, and use it for other things as well. You know, the Riviera, again, was a big expense to the city. They felt that it was important. It's an important landmark here, obviously. But it's going to be used mostly for weddings and, you know, social events and stuff like that, which really isn't going to benefit the people that live here in Lake Geneva as much. And so I think that if we can buy the course and we can use it as we want to, then it would be a great asset to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak? I think we're going to have to adjust the microphone down there.
Maureen Marks, 834 Dodge Street, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. I don't really have much to say because I just realized about the, what would you say? Not a secret meeting, but whatever we're having that I can't go to. Number 14. Anyway, I just want to reiterate and have people acknowledge the fact that the Friends of Hillmoor for years, for well over 4 years, we diligently worked toward coming up with different ideas for Hillmoor. There's a lot of hard work and intentions of all the Friends of Hillmoor. Some have moved on, few have moved, few have died. It's really kind of sad. It's sort of like the Woodstock movie, Here I Am Again. And I'm sure you're tired of it. But the city of Lake Geneva really should be able to direct the future of the land. Now, if we have to buy it to direct it, then that's what we have to do. That's what I did to get rid of my neighbors' tenants that used to come from underneath the rock. I bought the houses when they were put on the market. The city of Lake Geneva seeks to preserve its small city atmosphere. This is our mission statement. We have to follow our mission statement. So we want a small city atmosphere, reasonable cost of living, which probably means maybe playing golf at a reasonable expense, and a high quality of life by carefully controlling the land use. That means please don't come up with an idea like that. Fake lake. And do development and deliver high quality programs for the children and seniors. I'm beyond senior, but I'm still working. And we want reasonable services. So Tom Earl and the meeting before that handled a lot of that stuff. So please, we're well over 45 people that were direct Friends of Hillmoor that had made donations, some large, some as small as $25, some as small as $5. But really, let's get behind this. I was, all for taking care of the Riviera, and this is as important, if not more important, than the Riviera. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marks.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Janzak, 355 Havenwood, Unit Number 3. I'm a member of the Board of Directors of the Fairway Oaks Condominium Association, as well as an owner, obviously, Unit Number 3. For those of you who may not be familiar with our property, a significant portion of our property line is immediately adjacent to the Hillmoor property, specifically along the west side of the Hillmoor property and next to the Chateau Hotel, so that everyone can get an idea of the location. Our main building backs up to what used to be one of the fairways along the former Hillmoor Golf Course. For more than 30 years now, our condominium association has enjoyed both the economic and aesthetic benefits of being located immediately adjacent to this property, whether as a golf course or as an undeveloped parcel of land. The back decks of our main building look directly over the entire expanse of the Hillmoor property and are a source of great enjoyment to all of our owners. We are opposed to the development of the land for retail, commercial, and or residential uses, in particular the retail, because we do not want the back of our main building to look over or look upon the backside of retail strip malls with loading docks, dumpsters, parking lots, parking lot lights, etc. It's beyond doubt that the property values of our condominiums will be materially adversely impacted if development of this property moves forward under the proposed plans of the current owner of the Hillmoor property. Therefore, on behalf of the owners of the Fairway Oaks Condominium Association, I'm here to express our full support for the acquisition of the property by the city of Lake Geneva in order to preserve the natural beauty of the grand entrance to the city. I also want to extend a thank you to the Friends of Hillmoor for all the wonderful flyers. We were not aware of tonight's closed session as well, and I appreciate the time to talk to you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Peggy Esposito, and I live at 124 Darwin Street in Lake Geneva. I am a member of the city's park board, but I'm not here in that capacity tonight, although my membership does inform some of my opinions. I'm here to speak about Hillmoor. I would strongly encourage that the city purchase the Hillmoor property. While the eventual use and design of that space is completely open for discussion, tonight we are talking about the need to have it in the city's hands, as opposed to letting it be sold to another commercial venture. We've seen the farmland surrounding the city sold to developers, and we have several examples of what Hillmoor could become if it was turned into a new neighborhood. Look to the top of Center Street. We can see the homes up there that have completely taken away the tree line that was once up there. And then if you look at Symphony Bay, where the farmland was turned into winding streets with manicured lawns. Beautiful in its own right, but man-made, intrusive on the flow of water with its paved surfaces and rooftops. There are many, they are all around us as the city expands. I'm asking that you not let Hillmoor turn into one of these, and that it should be used as a green space or park. When I bring up the subject of Hillmoor, and I have done so frequently as I've moved around the city as either a candidate, a board member, or just a concerned citizen, I have not met one person who is supportive of building a commercial venture in that space, not one. The opposition has often increased traffic, but has also said that we need Hillmoor to be something other than commerce or houses. Hillmoor should be saved for our environment. We are filling every square inch of buildable space with a roof, cement driveways, grass, and plants that we import from all over the world. We are taking away the opportunity for our wildlife to thrive, and the expansion around us is only going to increase. We can't hope that the communities next door will do the responsible thing and maintain the trees, native plants for the bees, deer, and even the woodchucks. It's time to think about the residents and give us a site for enjoying the beauty of Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and Mother Nature. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak this evening?
Good evening. This is a bit off the cuff. My
Can
name
you
is Brian
state your
Good.
name and address?
Brian Good, 104F Evelyn Lane. As the other gentleman spoke, my complex backs up right to the property. When I was 8 years old, it was the first time I came here. This town has been a home, a vacation spot, and a getaway. There's been serenity. And if that changes, that property changes to a Target, to a parking lot, it's going to ruin this city. This city, from the 1800s, was a getaway for Chicagoans and Milwaukeeans alike to come here and get away, get to a lake. What do we have if we don't have nature? I go to Joni's 3 times a week. That's where I go, and there are times I'm just like, God, I wish I could go eat and just go take a walk. I go to Dave's Flatiron, and I'm like, where can I go after this? Just walk around the lake with all the tourists? No, I want to go someplace that's a home. Someplace to get away. This is our home. Don't give it to these people. Take it back. It's ours. It's simple. I don't have a speech. This is from my heart. Mayor, I've spoke to you about this. This has been my home. It's now my home for good. Keep it, please. Take it back. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Good. Anyone else wish to speak this evening?
Good evening, everyone. Tom Reed, 100 East Main Street. I'm going to go over some things repeated, but I wanted to say anyway. I'd like to thank all of you that put your time and effort into trying to save Hillmoor from being a subdivision or a business area. COVID has accelerated the growth of Lake Geneva. It feels like in the last year this town has just exploded. Although we can't stop the areas that have already been approved to be built on, we can do it with Hillmoor because it's not one of those yet. When I look to Williams Bay, I hear that they're saving the observatory. It makes me feel very happy inside that they're keeping something historic like that. Imagine if the observatory was a subdivision. I also look at Kishwaukee-Toe. Very grateful that they did what they did. Gives me hope that Lake Geneva might be able to do something similar. The Riviera renovation looks awesome. Imagine if that was torn down and something else was there. I feel that Hillmoor should be looked at in the same vein. It's not just some vacant farmland on the outside of town. It's the gateway to our beautiful city. And once it's gone for good. It can't be replaced. Many people have very strong opinions what it should be, golf course, a park. I've spoken to many people, as Peg has said, over the last 2 years, and I've yet to meet anyone who wants more housing or business along the highway. Just the traffic alone is a deterrent. But I've yet to see a citizen come up here and with the same vigor of all of us and said they want this to happen. These are just observations on my part. It seems like people who have lived here a long time and were able to experience Hillmoor are very passionate about what they'd like to see. It also seems like people that are newer and not aware that anything is happening have no connection to its rich local history, so they don't understand or care how important it is to a lot of us. I think it should be the central park of Lake Geneva, something that could be used by many different people of different ages, but at the end of the day be communal, because that's what Hillmoor was. It was the thread through our local community, and I feel lucky that I was able to experience it. In my opinion, it has not been replaced. Is that realistic? I don't know. I know it's just my hope, but I think with hard work and some compromise, this city could get anything done. What I do know is if we could get through the fighting, the lawsuits, and get control of it as a city, we could work together and create something we could all be very proud of going forward. Thank you again for letting me speak. I appreciate what you people do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Anyone else?
Gary Dunham, 1315 West Main Street, Lake Geneva. I'm here on a couple of items. I'm in support of item 12C, Flatiron Tap for their additional outdoor. I think David's done a really great job over there, he and his staff, and it's an amazing restaurant, done well, and I think that they deserve to have that extra outdoor space. And I am also here in the event that you have any questions, and I know that it's not a public hearing, but in the past, if you have any questions on item 13A, I'll stay through that time frame to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dunham.
Good evening, I'm Tom Gardner, Gardner, Koch, Weisberg, and Rona. We're at 500 Commercial Court in Lake Geneva. With me tonight is Luke and Monica Pfeiffer, who own Maxwell Mansion. Item 13B on your agenda deals with the request that they have made for limited conditional use to allow for amplification of voice. It's a really modest request and was approved by the Planning Commission. The request is just that microphones can be used for a wedding officiant, those speaking at a memorial service, marriage vows, speakers at a charity organization type event, and speakers at a reunion event. They just want to be able to do this on the south end of their property because that coordinates better for weddings and expectations of those that want to get married there, and with their seating requirements behind. So this is a general overhaul. I'll have Luke and Monica talk a little bit more about this.
Monica Pfeiffer, 304 South Wells. We want to thank the Plan Commission for their unanimous recommendation for amending our conditional use at 304 South Wells and 421 Baker Street for Maxwell Mansion. We also thank the numerous neighbors who are in support of this amendment and have properties abutting ours, including the owners of Oak Terrace Apartments across Wells Street, residents in the apartments across Cass Street, the Homeowner Association, and many residents of our closest neighbors at the villas of Lake Geneva located on Baker Street and Lakeshore Drive, and numerous other residents in close proximity. Earlier this year, you approved our limited conditional use for outdoor entertainment at Maxwell Mansion, and we are very thankful for the progress we've made so far for that. At the time, we discussed how even though the city had permitted weddings and other events to take place outside, there was not an official conditional use in place to allow it. As new members of the community and wanting to be good partners, we decided to apply for the proper conditional use. When that conditional use was approved, it limited any amplification in the front lawn, which includes microphones, that would be used by an officiant or by the bride and groom to say their vows. Brides and grooms that have booked their weddings at Maxwell did so seeing photos, videos, and being there in person for weddings that have occurred in the front lawn dating back to at least 2004. This is over 16 years in which weddings with amplification, including music, microphones, and more, created memories that will last a lifetime, memories that have a positive reflection on Lake Geneva. What we are asking for is a compromise of what has been allowed for the last 16 years. To allow amplification, such as microphones, for the purpose of voice, such that an officiant vows and speeches can happen. The noises created is less than a motorcycle roaring by on Wells Street, or the sound of our neighbors gathering outside with music. We understand there's residential housing in the area abutting our general business owned property, but we are in an urban area of town where noise is abundant with a flurry of traffic, visitors, kids playing in the park, and the sound of music from closer to the lake. This compromise still costs us heavily. As a family business, as we are already having to compensate events for the cost to move their reception and live music to the back terrace and for acoustical music for their ceremony on the front lawn. Words cannot even explain how heartbreaking it has been for us to tell couples that the way they planned their wedding can't help it. While we are limiting the size of our newly booked weddings moving forward as discussed before, there are still numerous large weddings that were booked with the prior ownership, and again with those couples seeing other large weddings that take place on the front lawn, or took place on the front lawn. Those large weddings now have to split up their guests for their reception. I can't even imagine what it would feel like to be so excited for my special day, and then to have everyone together, only to find out that now that's not possible. Even with this amendment, we are only solving the issue of the ceremony, while knowing disappointment will still be strong that the reception is spread out. I cannot imagine how we would explain to a couple that they cannot have a ceremony out front because a neighbor thinks it has an adverse impact to health and quality of life, even though it has been going on for the last 16 years. These events are not negative to Lake Geneva, they are positive. As a business owner, we are often asked, what keeps you up at night? Thinking about how this impacts these couples keeps us awake at night as we take great pride in delivering the most positive, memorable experiences. Luke and I made this move with our daughter to settle here and grow our family in our home state and this wonderful community. The community is supported by its amazing residents and heavily by the tourism dollars spent in the area. As residents, we too want to sleep at night and not have headbanging parties going on next door. But we also want to see people celebrate, be happy, and build memories that become the foundation of the area growing for decades and centuries to come. Loud music at 12 a.m. that we can hear in our house, yeah, that's a problem for us too. Seeing a celebration next door with a reasonable behavior and volumes is invigorating to the community. Hearing an officiant speak to a bride and groom so the bride and groom can give their vows so everyone in your wedding can hear it, again, something that's invigorating and showing how positive life is moving forward and how things are finally moving forward. We're just asking that hopefully you'll accept the unanimous decision to allow just microphones for voice amplification. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pfeiffer.
Luke Pfeiffer, 304 South Wells. Monica pretty much said everything that could be said about Maxwell. I'm going to thank everyone in the community that has been so welcoming. I mean, just hearing everything with Hillmoor, with new residents, not knowing a lot about it, and hearing the passion that's there. It's Lake Geneva. And that passion is great, and we look forward to being part of that and growing a part of this community. And we really hope you will take strong consideration so that brides and grooms that come here to have their weddings say great things about Lake Geneva, and that they leave here saying positive things and giving that positive reflection. On another note too, I would say Dave at Flatiron, I think they've done some amazing things, and we have our full support with their expansion. What they're trying to do again, it's businesses, growing tourism, it brings money in, and there's ways to do that without doing big, large commercial developments. There's ways to do this with our small businesses that are in town. That's what makes Lake Geneva special. That's why we moved here. That's why we picked Maxwell Mansion out of all the places we looked at. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else care to speak this evening? Anyone else?
Dick Malman, N1991 South Lakeshore Drive. Item number 14. These are the times that try men's souls. You may remember that line written by Thomas Paine during the Revolution to convince the American patriots to stay the course and continue fighting to win our freedom from King George. In these times, it's you, city councilmen and councilwomen, whose souls are being put on trial to stay the course and demonstrate the city's right to determine the fate of Hillmoor, to keep Hillmoor property from being recklessly exploited by the owner after he divides up the property and sells off to the highest bidder. Many Lake Geneva city councils in the past have faced with the same pressure and forces trying to influence you right now, like the property owners and developers and those who want to make the city bigger. There's the city staff who comprise the growth machine in the city, who want their departments to grow, to get bigger, to expand. You saw that demonstrated last week with Mr. Earle's list of projects. I don't know, I think all of you were amazed at how much you wanted to be done. That's why you sent it back to be reviewed and revised. Last time, it was the Slavny group, along with Mayor Hartz and our friend Dan Draper, that tried to bamboozle the council to approve a development. They gave us 3 choices, but they weren't choices that we wanted. Finally, we got a choice we wanted, and that's the one we picked, you picked, and that's why we're here again today. And then there's the attorneys who try to scare and intimidate you with information calculated to give in to the developer and give him what he wants so the matter doesn't go to court. Jim mentioned it, but you all may remember the city has been down this road before with the Hummel property that the good old boys wanted developed with over 2,000 homes, hotels, restaurants, and a winery. That was a long, tough fight too. Hummel sued everybody, including me, for $300 million. But after the judge dismissed my case, he told Mr. Hummel and the city that Hummel had no case, that he couldn't possibly win. So what did the insurance company and the city do? They gave Hummel $3 to $4 million and the right to develop his property. Just the opposite of what should have happened. To forestall Hummel, the group Care for Lake Geneva sued the city and Mr. Draper for contract zoning and open meetings violations. Those were proven in the case, but it took about 3 years in court for that to take place. At the end, Mr. Hummel was allowed to produce his development the way he wanted. Did he do it? No. He divided up the property and tried to sell it. But he couldn't sell it. Nobody would buy it. So he came to Care for Lake Geneva and asked Care for Lake Geneva to buy it. Everybody says it's J.B. Pritzker, but he's involved, but he's not the only one. So Care for Lake Geneva bought the property. And look what's happened to the south end of the city. It's beautiful property that's well cared for. It's going into organic farming. It's saving the savannas. It's cleaning up the wetlands. And it's beautiful.
Mr. Melman, could you?
Sure.
bring this up, please?
I just hope that the city does the same thing, that they refuse this Hillmoor and the city buy the property. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Melman. All right. Anyone else wish to speak this evening?